Somebody is.
All right, so let's talk about what you read yesterday. Yesterday, your science was about the different layers in your teeth. Who's ever had to go to the dentist and have a cavity filled before? Okay. Some of us have, some of us haven't. All right, so we're going to talk about the parts of this tooth. And you had to, of your teeth, and you had to label those for the questions. So I'm going to read, and then we'll kind of stop and talk about the different questions. The outer layer of your teeth is made of enamel, which is pretty strong. But when your teeth are coated with plaque, the acid made by bacteria stays in contact with the enamel. Over time, it can dissolve the enamel. The result is a cavity. But tooth decay doesn't stop there. The next layer of a tooth is the dentin. If acid starts to dissolve the dentin, your tooth will start to hurt because the tooth pulp will be exposed. This is the part of the tooth that is alive and has the most feeling. If you don't stop tooth decay, you might get a serious bacterial infection. So what's the outer part of your teeth that we can see? What's that called, Jacob?
Enamel.
That's the enamel. That's what's on the outside. Okay, so if your teeth get coated with plaque, so there's a layer of plaque over the enamel, and that traps the bacteria inside. When it does that and it produces the acid, what layer of your tooth does it start eating away first?
It starts with a D, I think.
Yes, it starts with a D. It's the dentin. That's that next level underneath your enamel. So then it can go all the way through, and that's when it starts hurting, is when it gets all the way down through the enamel, through the dentin, down to the part that's alive and has feeling. What's that part called, Jacob? Harper. Starts with a P. Is it the dentin, the enamel, the pulp, or bacteria? Pulp. The pulp is the part that actually is alive, and that's what has the most feeling in it. Okay? So now let's talk about what happens when you actually get a cavity, when bacteria actually creates that cavity. Okay. So what are some things that we can do? We've talked about this before. What are some things we can do to prevent cavities? Olivia?
Going to the dentist.
Going to the dentist. Okay, what else, Cash?
Brush your teeth.
Brushing our teeth. What else, Jacob?
I was going to say brushing your teeth.
Okay. Owen?
I
I need your foot off that Chromebook. I need your foot off the Chromebook.
didn't notice.
That's why we don't lay them on the floor. I know you didn't do it on purpose, but we have to pay attention.
I was going to say flossing your teeth.
Flossing. Okay. Brushing, flossing, going to the dentist. What else, Scotty?
Mouthwash.
Mouthwash. Okay. Cash?
Mouthwash.
Okay. All right, so there's a lot of things that we can do to help prevent cavities. All right, so today we have one new vocabulary word. That word's fluoride. Fluoride is a substance that's added to water and toothpaste to help prevent tooth decay. So when we brush and floss our teeth, we remove the food that bacteria eat. We also remove some of the plaque where bacteria grow. In addition, we make our teeth stronger because most toothpastes contain fluoride, a substance that strengthens enamel. The best way to prevent cavities is to see a dentist regularly. A dentist removes hard-to-reach plaque on your teeth before a cavity gets started. If you do get a cavity, the dentist will drill out the decayed part of the tooth and then replace the cavity with a filling that is hard. The filling protects the tooth. So I want you to take just a minute to think about why flossing your teeth is important. We know why brushing might be important. Why is flossing important? Olivia, why is flossing important?
Because it gets the pieces of food out between your teeth so they don't get stuck there.
Yeah, that's going to help get that stuff out from in between your teeth.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going to show you a diagram of what happens, some pictures that show what happens when a cavity is filled. And then we're going to see what steps that would be. All right, let me get to the right thing so it'll come up. Okay, shh. All right. So you have 4 pictures up here. Which one of those do you think shows a tooth that has a cavity on it? Which one's going to show a tooth with a cavity, Amy? The first one. That right there is a tooth with a cavity. How did you know that that was a tooth with a cavity? What made you think, hey, that's the one with a cavity? Yeah, you can tell that little black spot right there is representing a hole in the tooth, and that's what a cavity is. Okay, so then once you've gotten a cavity, the dentist has to use a tool to scrape away all the enamel that's decayed. Which one shows that happening? Which one shows that, Olivia?
The second one.
The second one, yeah. Here's the dentist tool, and it's kind of like a little drill, and it's drilling out the decayed enamel that's in your teeth. So after the dentist has scraped away that enamel, then he uses a material that becomes hard. Which one of those pictures shows that hole being filled with something that will become hard? Cash?
3.
Picture 3 shows that. And then once that hole becomes, or that filling becomes hard, then you have, your tooth looks like a regular tooth now, and it has that filling inside that closes up the hole.
Can you lose your tooth if you have a cavity?
Yes.
So you can have one of those middle things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's when a tooth is filled. There are other ways, like caps, those silver caps, and they sometimes even make them in white. Okay, that goes. They still do the same thing. They drill out the decay, but then they put just a cap over to close off from bacteria eating away more of the tooth. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I've lost a tooth with a cavity.
Mm-hmm.
And do you still have the cavity that just has the filling in it?
Yes, the hole's still there, and they just fill it in to